All right, welcome everyone for September 8th Planning and Strategic Initiatives Committee. We will first just ask if we have any conflicts of interest or pecuniary interest, nature thereof. Seeing none on the consent items, can I get a mover on all items? Moved by Councillor O'Dooney. Seeing no questions, all those in favor? Opposed? And that carries. So going on to the discussion items. Just want to note that for the delegations who have registered for the meeting this day, to all delegations, City values and encourages participation, dialogue, in a democratic process that occurs in council and committee meetings and through written submissions and correspondences. It is important that these interactions remain respectful towards other members of the public, staff, and council. In case where dialogue is not respectful or a delegate interrupts councillor, staff, or other delegations, makes derogatory statements about councillor, staff, or others that are disrespectful, or uses hate speech or language that is considered harmful or defamatory, the chair may interject and take necessary action to maintain a respectful and inclusive environment for everyone, which would involve removal from the meeting. One last reminder, the two delegations are permitted to address council for 5 minutes, which will be displayed on screen in front of you. When there's 30 seconds remaining in your time, you will hear a small audio tone that will signal 30 seconds remaining. Please take that time to conclude your presentation, as there will be a second tone at the completion of your time, and the microphone will turn off shortly after the exceeded 5-minute mark. Lastly, please do not take offense if following your presentation there are no questions from council. This is council's time to really listen and reflect upon the opinions and ideas shared with us from our community members. And also as a public this being a public hearing matter, this is a formal public meeting to consider applications under the Planning Act in accordance with the Ontario Planning Act. Only the applicant or owner of the land affected by the planning application, a specified person, or a public body and or the minister may appeal most decisions. If you do not make oral, verbal submissions to committee or council, or make written submissions prior to city council making a decision on the proposal, you may not be entitled to appeal a decision of the City of Kitchener to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT, and may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the OLT. To understand your rights of appeal, if any, or for further clarifications regarding appeals, please see the Ontario Land Tribunal website. Item number 6.1, which is 157 Schweitzer Street, under the number company. Mr. Pannell, I believe you are presenting first. You have 5 minutes. Just key in. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property is addressed as 157 Schweitzer Street and is located at the intersection of Lark and Schweitzer Streets in the Bridgeport East planning community. The immediately surrounding area is comprised primarily of low-rise residential land uses. The Croatian Roman Catholic Church owns the vacant lands directly across the street. The Croatian Church itself and the Kitchener border with Woolwich Township is located approximately 180 meters to the east. Sylvia Park is located 360 meters to the southwest. The subject property has 24.7 meters of frontage on Schweitzer Street and 50.9 meters of frontage on Lark Street, and is approximately 1,400 square meters in area, or about a third of an acre. The property is developed with a one-story single detached house that was constructed in the early 1960s. The subject property is identified as community areas on map 2, urban structure of the official plan. The plan function of community areas is to provide for residential land uses as well as non-residential supporting uses. Limited intensification is permitted. The property is currently designated on map 3 land use, shown on the screen as low-rise residential. This designation accommodates a full range of low-density housing types, which may include single detached dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, additional dwelling units, townhouses, low-rise multiple dwellings, and other types of low-rise housing. In this designation, no building is permitted to exceed 3 stories in height. The lands are currently zoned residential 3, or R3, in zoning bylaw 85.1. That's the older zoning bylaw. This zoning permits single detached dwellings, additional dwelling units, lodging houses, among other low-density housing forms. And the R3 zone outlines certain requirements, such as minimum lot area, corner lot width, maximum building height, and maximum lot coverage. The applicant is requesting a zoning bylaw amendment to change the zoning from R3 under the old zoning bylaw to Res 4 under the new zoning bylaw, which is 2019-051, along with a site-specific provision to facilitate the future creation of 3 new lots with frontage on Lark Street, each to be developed with a new 2-story single detached dwelling. The site-specific provision would accomplish the following under the existing dwelling, or for the existing dwelling. It would permit a minimum front yard setback of 4.2 meters to recognize the existing setback, and it would permit a minimum rear yard setback of 5 meters to recognize an existing setback. For the proposed dwellings, the site-specific provision would reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 7.5 to 6.8 meters. The existing dwelling near the intersection would be retained, and the detached garage would be demolished. It should be noted that the existing single detached dwelling is presently occupied by tenants, and these tenants were advised of the subject proposal when they moved in. The tenants are not required to relocate because the dwelling is not proposed to be demolished. The tenants will continue to live in the existing house. Each new single detached dwelling would have a lot width of 9 meters and a depth of 27.5 meters, and would have a lot area of 246 square meters. These lots are proposed to be created at sometime after council's decision regarding the subject zoning bylaw amendment. And a consent application would be required to actually create the lots at some point in the future. A conceptual rendering is shown on the screen, and this shows a single detached dwelling that's 2 stories in built form, and it has a single car garage. Staff suggests that the proposed development represents an opportunity. The proposal will facilitate gentle intensification of the lands with infill development in the form of single detached dwellings. It would further diversify the zone categories within this neighborhood, and consequently the built form. It would support and be supported by local transit and the nearby park. It would assist in achieving the planned function of the city's urban structure. It would allow for new development while retaining an existing dwelling and efficiently use land, infrastructure, and services. Staff responded to the questions and comments of the community at the virtual neighborhood meeting on June 26th, and staff also responded to emails and voicemails. The requested zoning bylaw amendment represents good planning, and staff supports the proposal. Thank you. I'm here for questions.
Thank you very much. And to the committee, we have Ms. Malone and Malone Wright and Mr. Stevenson as well to answer questions. We have a delegation first, so going to delegation first. Mr. Hawkins, I believe. Hello, sir. You have 5 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you, Chair Singh. Here on behalf of the owner, MHBC Planning, Trevor Hawkins, we are in support of staff's recommendation. I won't go over everything that Mr. Pinnell has spoken about in terms of the framework, but generally just outline the subject lands are located in an area that does have access to transit, does have access to full municipal services, so sewer, water, and storm services on Lark Street, which is what the new lots would front upon. Employment areas within walking distance. There's employment within walking distance. Of course, up Bridge Street further, there's a school as well as a grocery store. So it's an area that is a well-established neighborhood, which is desirable for new families looking for housing, and it's an area that has access to many amenities that people are looking for. Andrew's already kind of gone over the proposal. The green is the large retained parcel, so the house would remain, and then 3 new lots fronting on Lark Street, which would be serviced from services from Lark Street. The rendering is a conceptual rendering of what a 2-story house would look like. The area has a number of types of housing. There's bungalows, there's side splits, there's 2-story homes, there's 2-story semi-detached homes, there's triplexes, there's new homes that have been reconstructed or homes demolished and new homes built in the area. It really has a wide range of building forms, and we feel that adding some single detached homes of the two-story variety in this particular area of the city would just provide more choice and allow for a housing form that people are looking for and that families can occupy. In terms of the planning framework, the amendment conforms to the city's official plan, the regional official plan, consistent with the provincial planning statement. The severances will permit what we would characterize as gentle intensification or context-appropriate intensification in the existing neighborhood. The lands can be serviced with the existing services in the road. They have transit readily available and are in proximity, as I said, to a park within a short walk, as well as employment. And again, reiterate, we're here in support of staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Question from Councillor Davey.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hawkins, for your presentation. The only question I have is there is some concern, and perhaps I missed it in the report, but there was some concern at the public meeting in terms of privacy and overlooking. Would there be any concern if, as a condition of this approval, we were to add the requirement, this usually happens at site plan, but we were to add the requirement of having like a 2-meter fence adjacent to the private properties in the rear yard and on the left side of the furthest property on Lark?
We would have no objection to that.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Davey. Councillor Donnell.
Thank you, Chair Singh. These dwellings, are they going to be for rent or for sale?
Through you, Chair Singh, I don't know that that's been decided definitively. Certainly, they would be available likely for sale, and if there's interested parties, families that want to move in there, they would be available for purchase. As Mr. Pennell noted, the existing dwelling would continue to be rented.
Okay. And where's the nearest park to there?
If we could pull up the map, you basically walk along Schweitzer to the west, and then it's just south of Schweitzer. So
Okay.
it's about 350 meters away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
We can see it on there, yeah.
Councillor Stretch.
Thank you. In the rendering there has a sidewalk in front of it, but to be clear, there's no sidewalk, right?
There's no sidewalks on the streets in the area, that's correct, yeah. The rendering wasn't quite that accurate, correct.
Okay, and as for snow removal, because I know especially last winter, the snowbanks were really high out there, are there any specific plans to help, give more access for people walking?
In terms of the city's street, or?
Yeah, in terms of the city street or like a pathway, or have you thought at all about how people will move once there's a lot of snow?
Well, certainly we can look at ways to bring people from the driveway into the home, for sure, in terms of the snow management. So the driveway, with a single-car garage, the driveway is going to be 3 to 4 meters wide, and the lot's 9 meters wide, so there should be plenty of space on either side of the driveway for a walkway and snow storage.
Great. And sorry, my last question there is just the setbacks. We went over that really quick, but it is in line with the rest of the neighborhood?
Yeah, the main, most of the setback relief is actually for the existing dwelling, because if the severances went through, the front lot line would change from Schweitzer to Lark. Mm-hmm. So we had to build in site-specific setbacks to recognize where the dwelling is in relation to Lark Street. And then the side and rear lot line labels change because of that reconfiguration. Mm-hmm. The new homes would be in line with the existing homes. And then the only site-specific for the new homes is a slight reduction in the rear yard.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. That's all the questions for you. There are no other delegations registered. Any questions of staff? Councillor Davey.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple questions. No major concerns here. I just wanted the opportunity to ask the public questions. There were the primary concerns were stormwater drainage, and there was a concern about hydro reliability as well. I did note that there was some comment on that in the report, but if staff could actually comment on those two items, I appreciate it.
The first question was about stormwater management. So through the submission of the zoning bylaw amendment, there was a package submitted, and that package included a functional servicing report. So that, at the zoning bylaw amendment stage, that primarily looks at, it looks at not stormwater, but it looks at water servicing and sanitary capacity. Both of those things were deemed to be adequate. We also did receive some concerns, as you noted, about the stormwater. There is a storm sewer in Lark Street. It's very shallow, as was noted by one of the residents. We looked into it. It will be evaluated in much more detail at the consent stage. But even if that storm sewer is determined to be too shallow to send out some pumps to, there are many other alternatives. Infiltration galleries, there can also be just infiltration to a rear yard, depending on soil conditions. So that's something that will be evaluated at the consent stage. And I apologize, you had one more question. I didn't actually hear the
Sorry,
second
there was
question.
concerns about hydro reliability, and I guess there's been some hydro issues, and there was some concerns from neighbors that this may affect.
Yes, I agree. That was a concern that was raised by one of the residents in the neighborhood, and I think the concern was surrounding the amount of time it takes for Inova to repair lines after an outage. We did hear after the public meeting, we did reach out to Inova just to speak to them about this particular issue, and it was determined from Inova that there are no capacity issues in this particular area. This area is kind of on the fringe of the city, and so I'm not an expert in electrical systems. They are gradually improving the system so that when outages happen, it'll be quicker to get the system back online. But Inova was clear that they have zero issues with facilitating this particular severance, or this particular zoning bylaw amendment or future severance.
Yeah, thank you. My understanding was that the homes themselves prevent no positive or negative in terms of that, simply the distance. And second last question, speaking of distance, I thought I read in the report, they're far enough away that area, I'm not sure if it's all the homes or just these new homes, do they require direct detect from fire? I thought I saw that in the...
That'll be determined at the building permit stage. Whether they require direct detect. We typically don't deal with that at the zoning bylaw amendment stage.
Yeah, I saw in the report, I didn't actually say the words direct detect, but said direct fire monitoring. So anyway, it's not pertinent this time. And my final question, you heard my question of the delegate asking if we can tie a 2-meter fence surrounding the property, except for obviously with the existing property. I'm not too concerned about that. Don't need to deal with it right now, but could I have staff prepare that wording in time for the council meeting so that it's explicit for the residents?
So through you, Mr. Chair, we're unable to make a recommendation through the sections of the Planning Act that deal with things like adding fences. Like, this is something that could be provided perhaps on a good faith basis by the applicant, but through the sections of the Planning Act that we're dealing with today, we're not able to add in a fence. It's not, we can't add conditions of this sort through zoning bylaw amendment. And there will not be a site plan process in the future either. So it's something that we could talk to the applicant about and see if they're willing to do this on a good faith basis.
I appreciate that, but I'm fairly certain we've done that exact thing in the past. So there's there been a planning change rule that excluded that in the last couple of years, or?
No, there's been no changes to the Planning Act that would change that ability to erect a fence.
Okay, well, we have some time before council, so I'll follow up with staff, but I have no other concerns, and I'll move it at the appropriate time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Davey. Councillor Ioannidis.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Singh, and I don't have too much concerns about the application itself. I'm supportive of this. What I'm concerned is with regards to the regional portion in the comment sections. And I'm just wondering, what's the region's role with this now, since services have been downloaded to us when it comes to planning issues?
Through you, Mr. Chair, in this particular case, not much. The region Not really involved hardly at all. We can check the regional comments.
Okay, because what I see here is if they're not involved at all, why are they collecting a $3,000 fee?
I think that's for the region to respond to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions to staff, the item has been moved by Councillor Davey. Seeing no comments, I will ask the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? And that carries unanimously. Going on to item 6.2, which is the 434436 Queen Street South zoning bylaw amendment. Hello, Ms. Elzur. When you're able, 5 minutes, please make your presentation. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone. I will begin by providing an overview of this one-time zoning bylaw amendment application. This application is submitted under Council Policy MUN PLA 1170. This policy allows landowners to submit one-time zoning bylaw amendment application at no cost to facilitate a use change or to add a permitted use in a floodplain zone. This is a streamlined zoning bylaw amendment. There was no public engagement except for a notification in the newspaper about this public meeting in accordance with the council policy. This application was circulated to applicable city department and external authorities for comments. Dan Mirovets has made an application for a zoning bylaw amendment for the subject property addressed at 434-436 Queen Street South, as shown in the screen. The subject property is located in the Melcourt Woodside Park neighborhood, south of Cortland Avenue East, and backs onto Schneider Creek. It is surrounded by land designated as existing floodplain zone and natural conservation zones. The site is entirely within the floodplain. The site contains an existing two-story building with a mix of use. The ground floor is a personal service use, and the second floor contains 2 dwelling units. The building functions as a semi-detached structure with adjoining half located in the neighboring property addressed 432 Queen Street South. The purpose of the EUF zone is to recognize existing uses within floodways or floodplains. The property is designated as Natural Heritage Conservation in the official plan. The primary intent of the Natural Heritage Conservation land use is to protect and conserve natural heritage features and its associated ecological functions. The official plan policies considers an alternative uses in the EUF1 zone if they are compatible with the surrounded neighborhood, if there is no new dwelling units proposed, if the use proposes less risk in the floodplain, and if the Grand River Conservation Authority has no concerns with it. The applicant is requesting to allow the proposed retail use on the ground floor. The zoning bylaw amendment is required to permit the additional new permitted use. The amendment proposes to add a site-specific, in this case number 437, to zoning bylaw 2019-51. There is no proposals for additions, alteration, or replacements of existing buildings. The maximum building floor area and setback set out in the zoning bylaw would not be applied. There is no other alternative zoning regulations that will be required to be added to the site-specific. The proposed retail use is not expected to increase the flood-related risk to the property, nor its residents, tenants, or customers. It's compatible with the neighborhood and appropriate for the site. The Grand River Conservation Authority has been directly involved in the review of this application. The Grand River Conservation Authority has confirmed that there is no objection to the proposed use of the existing building and land, as it will not result in additional impact to the flood flow or increase the flood risk. As a conclusion, Development and Housing Approval staff are supportive of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application to permit the retail on the subject land. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions? No, we will go to the delegation first. Vice Chair Chapman. The first delegate is Dan Marzabit.
Hello, thank you.
Dan, you have 5 minutes to make your presentation. Go ahead. Or
Pardon?
just, you have 5 minutes to make your delegation.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
You have 5 minutes to speak.
5 minutes to speak, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I would just like to see if we could change that to retail, as right now it's only personal service. So I understand that's basically just massage and stuff like that. So I was hoping that I could change that into a store, please. Forgive me for how I'm dressed. I thought it was an e-meeting and I was fishing when I had called.
You're perfectly fine. There's others that have dressed much differently, so you're perfectly fine. Question, Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for coming in. What type of retail outlet are you thinking of?
So I was thinking of like a vape store.
Okay, not a cannabis store?
No, not cannabis, no,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
Okay, that seems to be everyone. Thank you, Dan.
thank
All
you.
right, cheers. Okay, questions of staff. Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, thanks. So nowhere in the report do I see mention of the fact that this property is in the Victoria Park Heritage District. And is there a reason it's not mentioned, and does that at all change, the use of the property?
Mr. Chair,
ahead.
there's going to be no proposed addition or changes to the exterior of the building. There's no additions. The building is going to stay on its existing footprint. That's why we did not receive any heritage concerns through the comments.
Okay. The other question I had was, at a later date, would the owners of the property be able to come back to us and ask to grow the footprint of the property, or because it's on a floodplain, are they restricted to just changing the use of the building?
So is that related to coming back through another application for another use? Is that the question?
Yeah, I'm just asking if because it's on a floodplain, does it restrict the applicant from coming back at a later date asking for us to grow the footprint of the building?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So this is a one-time zoning bylaw amendment, which comes as a scoped zoning bylaw application, free of charge. If any additional proposals coming again, it has to go through either a minor variance or a full zoning bylaw amendment application.
So they would be able to come back and ask for...
For another, yeah.
Yeah?
Any application, we can look at it, review it, and advise.
Okay, I just wondered, because it's in the Heritage
Yeah.
District and because
Councillor
it's on
Chapman,
a
no one
flood zone.
is precluded from making an application.
Pardon me? Let me just finish, please.
I'm sorry, as a chair, if I feel
Okay,
like
sorry.
additional information is necessary, it is my role and function
Yes,
to
I
appropriately
apologize.
interject if I feel a question is being repeatedly asked where information has been provided, but again, it's follow-up afterwards. I thought I could add extra information that could be useful to you.
Okay.
Do you have an
I
issue?
just wanted clarification. No, I
Okay.
apologize.
All right.
Thank you.
Is your question answered, or can I add some
You
additional?
can add.
Okay, so any applicant can make an application. It's really then, at that point, depending on the application, it's up to staff, depending on the application may be made, making a recommendation for approval or rejecting it. But we can't prohibit anyone from making the application under the Planning Act. That's what I was trying to add to you. Thank you. Okay, no other questions of staff? Comment, mover? Moved by Councillor Chapman. Oh, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I was just going to provide some clarification,
Sure.
Chair, in terms of new proposals. So they would be able to increase the building floor area by 25% under the existing EUF zoning, but they would require the necessary heritage permit. They would also require GRCA approval and permit as well.
Okay, good. That actually triggered my questions. This application is not quite like a substantive change from existing usage. Again, they're not looking to increase a substantive footprint of the current density. For the zoning application, what is the fee that's charged in an application like this?
Yes, so this application was processed under the council policy, which allows a one-time, no-charge zoning bylaw amendment to change the use. So it's a one-time use, so if they do want to change the use again, there'll be a new zoning bylaw amendment application at their cost.
Okay, because something was said regarding it being free of charge, so I just wanted clarity on that.
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Chapman. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. And then we have information items. Seeing no information on it, I think this may be one of the fastest planning meetings of this year. Thank you very much. And meeting adjourned. Thank you.